If you've followed my channel for a while, you know that Army Men is one of my ultimate guilty pleasures. The only game in the series that's actually been genuinely good was Army Men 2 on PC, and the closest a console series came to being legitimately a good game was, in my opinion, Sarge's Heroes 2. And a lot of that is really due to nostalgia. Still though, I love this series. Portal Runner, then, as a spin-off to the series, should have followed this trend of, it kinda sucks, but I love it anyway. Unfortunately, they forgot the "but I love it anyway" part. It just sucks. This did also get a release on PlayStation 2, and while I haven't played all of that version yet and made it to the end, I am pretty confident that there's not a whole lot in common with this Game Boy Color mess. The game does look okay for a Game Boy Color release, but it plays horribly. It's an action platformer that gets neither the action part nor the platforming part right. As you go through levels, you encounter a variety of enemies, from tan soldiers, to bugs, to other toys, to, eventually, aliens. Don't bother trying to punch them though, the hit detection is atrocious here. You're better off using either your bow or just giving up, letting them live, and running past them. I would occasionally get a lucky punch or jump kick in sometimes, but 90% of the time they just didn't register at all. Aiming the bow sucked too, since you can't aim up or down or even move while you have the bow drawn. Your only ability to affect where the arrow landed is how long you held the button down, but at least the arrows usually registered as hits. Unfortunately, the hit detection is not the only problem here. The platforming is also really stiff and awkward. It feels like if somebody made Castlevania, but tried to make it horrible. There are around 36 levels in the game, and not a single one of them feels like there's any real purpose. For most levels, you just collect 5 gems, you can stockpile up to 50, and find the portal. That's it. There's no other objective throughout most of the game. Every now and then, you'll reach a boss level, where you have to fight a boss in order to use the portal, but that's as far as variety goes. There's no real story whatsoever here in the Game Boy Color version. You play as Vicky Grimm, which sort of technically makes this the third game in the Sarge's Heroes sub-series, but the entire premise of the game is missing for the Game Boy Color release. Bridget Blue doesn't appear here at all, despite being one of the major characters in the PS2 game. The other Game Boy Color Army Men games all had some semblance of the story, and pretty much every major character from those games made an appearance, but there's just nothing here. This feels like a beta or a test version. I've played all of the handheld Army Men games, and this is by far the worst. No contest. There's just nothing whatsoever here that's worthwhile. The platforming is bad, the combat is bad, the story is omitted altogether. Thank goodness each of the level's games take less than 5 minutes to complete on average, because even that length starts to feel excessive with the fact that you have 36 equally boring levels. Environments just recycle with no rhyme or reason and no variety whatsoever. This is the epitome of a quick and easy cash grab game. Not even the most hardcore Army Men fan should bother with this one. My rating for Portal Runner on Game Boy Color is an F.